This is Twit.
We all know Microsoft already has Microsoft 365, right? Yeah. That's the bundle of Windows 10, Office 365, and Enterprise Security and Mobility.
Right.
But we have been saying they're going to come out with a consumer version of Microsoft 365. And Microsoft will never confirm that. They just kind of say,
Mary Jo, you're being very kind, but you have been saying.
Okay, I have been saying.
I appreciate you welcoming me into the umbrella, but this is your
This is all me.
This
Okay,
is her scoop.
This is all me. I've been saying it, but I've been saying it because I found job listings on Microsoft's own website, which they have now removed, that said it was coming. So it's not just me making it up.
Tell me, Mary Jo, what is it?
So that's what we don't really know, right?
Oh.
So if you think about what is Office 365 Personal and what is Office 365 Home, those are subscriptions for consumers. Now, what I hear they're going to do is rebrand those as Microsoft 365 for life. Not a life insurance policy, but something that will be for consumers, sold just like they sell Office 365 Home and Personal, probably even for the same price, so $100 and $80, depending if you want the home or personal. And they're going to do this maybe around the spring of 2020. Originally, the plan was to announce this at Build this year, I hear. And Build came and went. Ended up not happening. I'm not exactly sure why it didn't happen, if they were waiting for something new with Teams, because we keep hearing about Teams for life also. But yeah, what they're going to do is try to make the brand Microsoft 365 the new Uber brand instead of having Office 365 be the brand.
Is it more than Office 365?
I think it is. Because if you want to claim it's Microsoft 365, there has to be some Windows pieces.
Do you think you get Windows with the subscription?
So that I'm betting no, because that wouldn't really make sense. The way most people get
you know what would
Windows,
make sense?
What?
How about Windows without the crap?
Yeah, that's so. I
like-
thought about that.
Like a signature edition.
I thought about that.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought about what if they give you Windows with nothing in it, right? Like real clean install.
No, that'll never happen because that's effectively an admission that they have crapped it up.
They admit that though.
Look, I mean, they're trying to monetize
Now with
it.
less crap. You don't want.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
You don't want to say that out
You don't
loud.
like full of crap? Pay
No.
more.
But what if they added a password manager to Credge?
Yeah, they could add some features.
They could add things.
Yeah.
They could maybe let you defer updates if you pay for it.
Yeah.
As a home user,
Interesting.
even defer them more like you can as a business user.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I like it.
I'm just guessing on those features because all I know from my contacts, I should say, I don't know this from Microsoft, but all I know is Office 365 is the crux of it.
Would Microsoft be nervous about beefing up Credge because of the problems they've had in the past with the embedded browser? Like, is that
antitrust, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Not anymore.
No.
What do they have, like 1% market share? Or?
Yeah, there's no concern there.
Okay, so that's over.
Yeah.
Mozilla's putting a password manager. They just updated that in 71.
Right.
So maybe that's going to be considered the next thing
to have.
do in a browser, right?
Well, I mean, Google's had one built into their browser forever.
Yeah.
I mean, not forever, but for years.
Google has always remembered passwords, but doesn't Internet Explorer doesn't Edge do that?
It
doesn't
offers
remember
it.
Yeah. No, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's not secure.
Right.
In fact, with Google's, you can see it in clear text. And when asked, they say, well, if somebody's logged into your computer, they can.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you already have problems in the first place. But it's not what I would call a great password manager. It's not super secure.
It integrates with Windows 10 security. If you want to view passwords in Chrome, you have to enter your PIN or your...
Yeah, you have to have a Windows password if you don't.
Yeah, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll make it like you get a Windows license. That doesn't make sense because people get Windows licenses when they buy
they don't
a
need
PC,
it.
right?
They don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it doesn't
I
make
think
sense.
especially if you're never
likely
going to release
scenario-
a new version of Windows ever again.
What if you could get Windows Subsystem for Linux running on Home?
All right, guys, seriously. I think you're
I'm playing to my audience.
What if it came with Hadoop?
Let's
What if
dial
it
it
came
back.
with data lakes?
Anyway, in real life, I think it's far more likely that there are no new features, that this thing is basically Office 365.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it'll be largely a rebrand.
And, the Microsoft brand is perceived as more, more positively or better by consumers than the Office brand, which is kind of generic, frankly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and the reason they're calling it For Life, if you're wondering what that is, and maybe that name won't stick, but For Life is the way they have been referring to this strategy that they've had in place for 2 years or so to appeal more to prosumers, right? For people who are consumers who care about productivity. And
I get it. It doesn't mean you own it for life.
No.
It means it's for your life.
Yes.
Oh, no. It means you'll be paying for it for life.
Exactly. You're going to be subscribing for life. That's it.
Yeah, no, there is a life sentence involved in this process.
Monthly payments for life.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Wow.
Right. But when they came out with Office 365 Home and Consumer, the home and personal subscriptions, I thought nobody's going to buy that. But they sell a ton of it, like multiple millions of subscriptions to that. So obviously, consumers do agree that there's a value in subscribing to Office.
Do you remember the days when it first kind of came out that Microsoft was thinking about a subscription to Windows or a subscription to Office, and how people said, "I will never." People were furious.
Windows 365, remember that?
Yeah.
Which has never happened.
So realistically, though, there is a threat here to Microsoft in the sense that there are obviously going to be people who don't want to keep paying for this, regardless of what it is. I think one of the saving graces of Office 365 is the storage you get on OneDrive. I think that is kind of what sells it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I think Google Docs is fine. Office on the web is fine. People are using alternate tools now.
Well, that's what's kind of interesting.
Unless they're prosumers or professionals.
Office on the web is so good.
It is.
And if it becomes a PWA, the only people who will subscribe to Office will be the power users, right?
Right.
Somebody like Mary Jo doesn't need Office.
This does open up the possibility of a new tier on Office or Microsoft 365 for consumer, and that's something that already exists on the commercial side. I have this subscription. I think Mary Jo does as well, where it's probably $60 a year. I don't remember the exact name of it, but what you get is the online services.
I think it's Office 365 Business, right?
I think so. So what you don't get is the downloadable applications,
right?
But you get everything else.
Oh, that's interesting. And cheaper because of that?
It's cheap. Yeah.
How much is that?
60 a year?
It's 60 versus about 120, so it's about half price.
So what you're really paying for is OneDrive? What are you really getting?
In the email,
Exchange
custom
email.
domain.
Oh, and then you get custom email with the custom domain.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Well, think about it from like Mary Jo and I do this as individuals, but really what that service is aimed at today is an organization where they have different groups of users who all have different needs, and they can say, well, you guys need the downloadable Office apps. You guys over here don't. But everyone needs the back-end email with the custom domain, obviously.
What it competes with directly is Google and G Suite, which is the same price, by the way, $5 per user per month.
Yeah, exactly. And Google doesn't have the downloadable stuff, so.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a possibility.